would be my first instinct here would be the sort of slightly bigger male of the Birmingham males. Birmingham males, of course, 5 males in total, but not impossible with the first instinct here would be the sort of slightly bigger male of the Birmingham males. Birmingham males, of course, 5 males in total, but not impossible that they would have split. Also interesting now, because we had lioness at the water, we have a track. Scott and them are looking at the tracks at the moment, going west from here. But then I have to wonder if that's the case, isn't there maybe a bit of a connection here? The fact that there's only one male as opposed to more. I mean, keep in mind, that's the beauty of this area. This could be a totally strange lion. This could be one that we've never seen before. But my feeling here is Birmingham. So what I'm wondering is maybe one of the lionesses are an estrus, but then he wouldn't leave her alone. So probably also not that. We will figure it out as the morning goes along. I'm going to go a little bit closer. He's very relaxed. Again, reaffirming to me that it's one of the lions that obviously is familiar with vehicles, and more specifically our vehicle as well. Let's see if we can get a bit of a closer look at the... Quite swollen up as well. So not only is it cut, but it looks like it's had quite a hard sort of blow to it. Also above the eye, another hard blow. Now this is fairly typical. If you look at that face, if you ever see a picture of a lion and it's got a perfect face, especially a big male, that lion would have been photographed somewhere that's not wild. Any male that lives in a totally wild, open population end up having scars of some sort or another on their face and nose area. Now he's got a cut right on the sort of lower eyelid almost. If you compare the two eyes, if you look at his left eye, your right hand side, you see he's got that nice white sort of light colored mark under the eye, which helps to reflect light into the eye in low light conditions. And you can see that whole area on his right eye, our left hand side, is covered in blood. But the cut itself looks like on the edge of that, and then I would guess also blood from... There's another cut just below the eyelid, so a combination that is swollen as well. Oh, beautiful. Look at that face. Well guys, thank you so much for lots of feedback there. Just saying that Tommy and Blair, to name a few of the names that came back with, agreeing that it's one of the Birmingham boys, Birmingham males. Really one of the very light mane blondies at night, especially early in the mornings. And he just did that to sort of, I guess, play a joke on me. Lying down, as I said, they're quite active early in the morning. Huge cats. I mean, I'm always amazed at the scale of them when you get relatively close. I mean, those paws are, without the nails extended, just in a relaxed form, the size of the side of your head, or my head. The forearms, the shoulder muscles, they're just so powerful. This guy would be in the region somewhere of 200 kilograms or give or take, which is about 400 and, let's say, between 400 and 460 pounds somewhere. Probably about 4. If I had to guess it exactly, I would say where he's probably 437 pounds. If I had to play bingo for it. We're just confirming there that this has a tail. Well guys, to be honest with you, I do think this guy is not going to be doing too much. Oh, well observed there. I'm just getting some more feedback from many of you that, like us, are really into these animals and which individuals are doing what and what's going on. Edward just saying that it also looks like an injury on his chest and his right paw. Now, get up there. Well, he'll definitely get, he'll definitely get up at least once more this morning to move to shade, but that might be much later. But my guess would be that he will get up early this morning, in the next 5 or 10 minutes. But for the moment, it does look like he's having a bit of a nap. You can see the sunlight just catching him there. That's actually lovely to see. Look how different that is from 10 seconds ago. But I do think we'll cast our eyes over him just now. But I do think perhaps this is a great time for you also to say hello to the other guys out there. James is on drive, Brent out on the walk, Hayden's still in the tent as well. We're going to stay with him, but for now I think he's going to do this for at least 5 or 10 minutes. If anything happens, we're going to get you back here. Okay, well. Well, guys, we're going to just stay here a bit longer. James, let me just move slightly. That lovely light is falling on him now. All sort of on the right side of the light from him. James is still looking around at the moment. They're also tracking other cats, so there we go. Beautiful early morning light. Pat is just saying that there was another lone male at Nkoro about an hour ago. Excuse me. Yeah, maybe there was some kind of, who knows, maybe some strange lions came in last night and they ended up fighting with them and chasing them off or something. Difficult to say exactly what's happened. But thanks for that update, Pat. Look at his paw there, right? I mean, it's maybe a little bit too far to see, but his right paw, so there. So I was just finding myself right there, but you probably won't see it. If you look very carefully, right where my finger is, there's also some blood coming out of the paw, but it looks like it stopped now. From another nail or claw. So definitely some sort of altercation last night, and this looks fresh. I mean, maybe early last night, but not, this is not days ago. This is hours ago, rather. Excuse me. Well, guys, information coming in now from everyone. This is actually amazing. I love this aspect of Wild Earth, and I love the involvement, the community aspect, and the interest as well. We're just getting some info now coming in. 2 lions from the Birmingham males up east, 1 in Torchwood, which is directly to our east, 1 then at Nkoro, most likely from the other update, and then this would be the 5th one. So they are really dispersed at the moment all over the place. This guy is enjoying his nap. I'm sure after whatever happened last night and the last day or two, a bit of a rest is great for him. James is also looking around. If anything happens here, we'll get you back. Enjoy saying good morning to the other guy.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome, as Peter I'm sure has already said to you, to the morning safari here in the wilds of the Kruger National Park. My name is James Hendry. Brian is on camera. Say hello, Brian. That's Brian's thumb. And what a wonderful way for you to start, for all of us to start with a male lion. Oh, quick, Brian, here, look. Hyena carrying a piece of buffalo. We were just tracking a herd of buffalo. One of their number has clearly bit the dust during the night. Right, well now we know where the buffalo herd is, and certainly one of them was. This is fascinating stuff. Just go back here and have a look. I'm not going to follow that hyena. I think it's going straight back to the den, going back to feed one of the cubs. Quite interesting. I think it's entirely possible that a buffalo has been killed. We were following tracks of a herd going into this block. We just sort of done a circle around the block. I haven't seen any tracks coming out, and I wonder if the Nkabuma pride hasn't come into this area and made a kill sometime during the night. They were just up there yesterday. All right, so we're going to go carry. You know what? The block's not that thick there. I think we're going to just follow straight in on the line of that hyena. What's interesting is that we were reading about hyenas the other day, and that female that was carrying the meat back to the den must be pretty high-ranking. Now, apparently, low-ranking females will not take meat back to the den. Because they're low-ranking, they'll almost certainly have their meals stolen from them by higher-ranking females when they get back to the den. And so they will eat in situ. Low-ranking females will find food, eat in situ. Their bodies will convert it to milk, and then they'll take that back to their cubs at the den. But high-ranking females will often, because they can monopolize feeding opportunities, will actually find a kill and take food back towards the den. Right, so we'll peel our way into here, and we'll be fairly sort of, we'll stop every so often just to have a listen. But it's relatively clear in here, so we should be able to see if anything's going on. I do wonder what on earth has happened to that lion that Pete has got. Why it's injured, hurt it. What's going on there? I think that Birmingham boy coalition is starting to fracture under the strain of perhaps pressure from the skybed males coming from the north. And they've apparently been roaring, those skybed males. For those of you who are new viewers, the skybed males, a coalition of 9, and there's no ways they'll be able to maintain that throughout their lives. But it's still quite impressive that there are 9 of them. And 5 of them were on Whittle's Hook 2 days ago. And I think quite interestingly, they were roaring, which means they do feel like they're territorial, they do feel like they have the potential to become dominant. So this hyena came down this game park here. There's our problem with our radio communication. We'll have to tighten that. One of our aerials was flapping gently to the side, listing to port quite heavily. Is that right, Brian? No. Okay, we'll fix it just now. I'd say tracks of a huge herd of buffalo heading in this way earlier. It was the most gorgeous sunrise. It is barely just after 5. So what we'll do is we'll just get into this little cave here. We'll stop and we'll have a listen. See if we can hear anything in the way of feeding or of the buffalo herd. You can hear the green spotted dove, emerald spotted wood dove. Lovely call. Right, let's carry on. Didn't see anything. So Now we've come back out onto the road, and I'm as opposed to taking a flyer while just driving through the bush. They're going up the road here, and you can see it looks like, I'm sure you can see it, Brian zoomed in on the road there, you can see the kind of very obvious scuffing up of the road from the buffalo. They've been moving quite fast, there's not a lot of dung patty around, so I'm not sure what they were doing. Perhaps Peter's lion that he's got there was caught in some sort of feeding frenzy. Perhaps even a buffalo damaged him. Right, while we follow up here, just one of the most beautiful things to see in the early morning dawn light is the silk of a spider. See you just now.
Welcome to the sunrise walking safari. It's incredible. What we're seeing here is a tiny little bark spider busy basically breaking down his web. And he'll eat all that silk. Look at that, he's collecting the silk. And basically he's taking down his whole web in a matter of minutes. And the reason he does this is because he is very vulnerable to predation. So at night he'll put up the web, or she'll put up the web and catch all the insects they can. And now during the day, it's basically wrapped up and bundled its whole web. It'll eat that. And it's got incredible camouflage. It looks exactly like a piece of bark. So now that it's eaten up the whole web, I mean, it takes a lot of protein to produce that web, so it would be a complete waste for the spider to discard the web. So it collects all of it, and it'll now find a nice little bit of this tree, or this little spike thorn, that it's going to rest on with the bark side showing of its body. You can see the dark underside. So it's looking for a spot where it'll just basically curl up into a little ball, and that's where it'll hide. Just collecting the last little bits of web from where it was anchored. Isn't that amazing? It's so specially evolved to avoid predators during the daytime. It's very, 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 very particular about collecting the pieces of web where it was attached. See how he's running around? You can see the little legs grabbing little pieces of web and then moving them to his mouth parts. Oh, he's off again. He's looking for a spot to settle down for the day. Oh, you can hear Franklin alarm calling and bursting out of the ground just close to us. Just behind, sorry, I'm going to come past you, Jean-Andre. We're on the side of a drainage line near Buffels Hook. My name's Brent Smith. I've got Jean-Andre on camera, and this is Safari Live. So when you hear a bird alarm call like that, it could be anything. You can hear that bird's getting even more agitated. Now, the problem with looking for alarm calls on a small animal like that is it could be from an eagle, it could be from a mongoose, but the fact that it's flown up and continued alarm calling could mean it could be from one of the big cats. So it's not a good view here. We're going to go a little bit further down this game trail, and then there's a big termite mound. I'm going to see if we can see across the drainage line. We're going to move a little bit quicker. This is a very good area for lion and leopard. It could be one of the Birminghams. I know Pete's with one, but they do split up to patrol their territory. Looking across, there's another game path like the one we've been walking on the other side of this little stream bed. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That is a very upset Franklin. But let's try see if we can get across. If we don't see anything from this side, we can go check if there are any tracks there. On foot, it's always better to possibly get a long-distance visual. If it is one of the big cats, it makes them less likely to run away. Yeah, that Franklin's still going. So after the rain, the bush gets a bit thicker and it does make the visuals a little bit harder. So we're going to slow down now a little bit. Just move very carefully through the drainage line and back towards where that Franklin is alarm calling. We're going to move really stealthy now, so while we do that, let's go get an update on those lions with Peter.
Well, lots happening out in the bush. Franklins are alarm calling, that's always interesting. It could be anything from a snake or an eagle up to a big lion maybe, who knows what it could be. Brent and them are going to keep looking around, always interesting on foot what you can find. James, of course, hyenas and lots of activity there as well. So lots to look forward to. This guy has done exactly just this since you were last year. He hasn't even flicked a tail or blinked an eye. It's a very interesting question there from Raisha. Nice to have you on drive again, as you often are. And a very good question. I mean, that shows from people that have been on safari with us more than a few times. You start looking at the possibilities. Could that injury be from, in your case, Raisha, your question, from amongst the five boys? The Birmingham males, yes, they could fight amongst each other if there's specifically, as you suggested, mating rights or mating opportunities or mating access on the cards. Not impossible. In this case, maybe a good possibility since they've all dispersed by the sounds of things. If there was a fight with other males, in other words, if competition had been in the area and they had a big fight with them, typically after that, those males would really bond together. They would bond together for themselves to reinforce their own bonds, but also in case of further challenges, they would work together. That's the point of a coalition. So perhaps the fact that they're all sort of scattered out would suggest something like that, but it's difficult to say what exactly this could be. Maybe in the course of the morning, if we see more or speak to the other vehicles that are further out and we find the other males or at least information on them, we can piece it together a bit. What I'm going to do, just listening here, we can hear something off in the distance here. It's a squirrel that's alarm calling. Well, Maggie, you're just asking there about, I might even take a short drive there. It's definitely calling. We'll keep an ear on it. Squirrels typically don't alarm call, for instance, for lion, because lion don't really go up into trees, so they don't really bother squirrels. But squirrels do alarm call for leopard and then other things. It could be an eagle or a snake. I think let's take a very short drive while we chat about your question, Maggie. This guy is not going to go anywhere fast. We're not going to go far. We'll be within sort of almost visual distance of him. Maggie, you're just asking about this, the size of coalitions. typically big coalitions, well, firstly, it's not typical, big coalitions. I mean, even 5, like the Birmingham boys, that's coming up to quite a few lions for one coalition. Typically, 2 to 4 would be average size coalitions. 5 and anything up from that is quite a lot. So the only exposure or experience I had with it before was through John Grinnell, or Dr. John Grinnell, who's an American professor that did his PhD on lion studies, and he'd seen a group of 7 males in East Africa that took over 3 different territories and then split up after that and sort of annexed different prides between different parts of the coalition. So the reason for splitting up, I think, is eventually just too much competition. If you only have one pride as a big coalition of, let's say, 5 males or 9 males, like the ones moving in from the north potentially, then once you have that pride, even if it's a big pride, you're still going to have a lot of males competing for the mating opportunities. Whereas because you are so many, even 5 being quite many, you have the ability to take over. Sorry, but I really want to look around here, see if I'm not looking at you. Okay. Sorry, I just heard something on the radio there. Is that with being many lions, you can take over more than one area. You can go in and take over 1, 2, 3 prides or 3 different pride territories, and then split up. Because it also doesn't help if you've got 3 prides, but you only stay with the one pride. You've got to keep an eye on them all the time so that other males don't sneak in. So it's more the social dynamics combined with the mating opportunities that would influence the coalition to behave differently after they've taken over a new area. That makes sense. Well, we're going to be going on a short break shortly for some of you, but also for all of you on the moment, you won't have to go away. This is just for rehearsal, the ad breaks. See you back in a bit. We're going to keep looking, see what the squirrel's calling about. Maybe this is something small, but it's always worth investigating anything. Oh, that's a bug. Anything that's alarm calling, and we're going to go back to Brent on the walk and see what's happening with the Franklins and what they were shouting about. See you in a bit.
I just saw that Franklin that was alarm calling take off out of this dead knobthorn tree. The fact that whatever the predator is here, even if it's a little slender mongoose, it's a terrestrial predator. They wouldn't be up in the tree if it was something like an African hawk eagle. So now there's some game paths around here. We're going to go check very carefully if we can find any tracks on them. It is quite difficult to see tracks after the rain. So when you're tracking in a lot of these situations where the ground's so hard you can't even see my tracks, you got to sort of think like an animal and guess like an animal. So if I was a lion or a leopard and I happened to be walking here, if I look at this sort of wall of bush in front of us, there's 2 routes I would go. The one would possibly be through this open patch here, but I don't think so. I think I would go on the more pronounced path, going straight through here. I can hear another little bird alarm calling. The way it's alarm calling makes me think we might have been chasing a little mongoose, but it is worth checking every one of these. Speaking of rain, as I did earlier, Julia, morning Julia, is in Houston, and Julia's wondering how much rain we got last night. Thanks very much for the question, Julia. Julia, very, very little. It was a lot of thunder, lightning, and wind, but very, very little rain. The majority of that storm blew to the west of us, up against the Drakensberg Mountains. I'm not seeing any tracks. Another thing I'd be looking for, in case it was a lion and leopard, if they were walking through, is scrape marks from scent marking. Sometimes you can see those a lot more easily than you can just see a track on the ground. what I'm looking for is just the tiniest scuff on the ground here. Oh, baby scrub hare. And obviously, we nearly stood on him, and that's what caused him to run. There he goes. So their defense mechanism is to stay as dead still as possible till you're too close to them, which I think was what happened there. Jean-Ray just took one step, and I think he was sleeping in a little patch of grass next to Jean-Ray. He was sleeping in this thicket here. But we're gonna carry on tracking. Wasn't that thing so cute? It's amazing what you see on foot, and it's incredible that we are bringing this to you absolutely live. And speaking of tracking, we're going to continue tracking through here, see if we can find some tracks, but we're going to go across to James, who's tracking that large herd of buffalo.
Right, I think we're live, everybody. A couple of communications issues with the final control this morning, but here we go. We're still trying to find those buffalo, and perhaps the dead one who lost a limb to that hyena that ran past us. I have to confess, as I think Brent was telling you, I know that final control is talking to me at the moment, but I cannot hear a word they're saying, so I may just have to turn on our handheld radio. So if you do hear the dulcet tones of Tara Dales, that's why. So I think the buffalo are coming from there towards this area. Wild dog. Well, that's not the worst thing to come across. Oh, there are a whole lot of masses of them. Woo! Yay! Right, I'm going to tell Peter. It's going to be a good idea if we both here. Stations packed of wild dogs heading south down the Taylor axis around about the junction of Aubrey's. Sorry, about 6 stations spoke at the same time there. Go again. Isn't that wonderful, everybody? Copy. Peter Pretorius come in. Pete, you want to join me here? Yeah, affirmative. Sorry, everybody, I'm just coordinating quickly the sighting. We're trying to get Peter in here because if these things go on the hunt, as many of you will know, they will move at a tremendous speed, and it'll be very helpful to have both of us in here. Isn't this just fantastic? This is the Investec pack, so named after a South African bank. Not a romantic name, of course, but very important because they do spend quite a lot of money sponsoring these dogs. You know, clothes and football equipment and that sort of thing. That's all marking. It is kind of territorial marking, but they're not the most territorial animals in the world. Well, this is quite interesting here. Question from what sounds like Pound Sharon. Like I say, a few... No, not getting the name at all, I'm afraid. I'm going to burn the radio shortly. Ah, Clown. Clown Sharon. Hello, Clown Sharon. You want to know that leg lifting process is a learned behavior or if it is innate? Well, Clown Sharon, I'm going to use both of your names because I'm not going to call you Clown. That would just be insulting, I feel. It's totally innate, I think. I think it's innate in our pets too. Certainly young dogs that with little baby puppies, males squat to pee, and then when they get a bit older they start to they lift their legs, and that I think is an entirely innate behavior. Look at this, all of them. Look how beautiful, they're getting big. Everybody try and count them. There should be 11 little ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think there are 11 and 3 adults. Wonderful. They look quite full to me.
Can you turn off the pump? Can you turn off the pump?
See?
The pump. Turn the key.
Oh, right, sorry. Well done, Brian. Sorry. This is just spectacular. Okay, everybody, we're only going to be here another 5 minutes or so because we have to go to do our practice show, I'm afraid. But what a spectacular thing this is. And remember, this is our last day of rehearsals as far as I understand it. So we should be pretty much back to normal tomorrow. Here we go. Ooh, and the smell of them is quite something. Ooh, okay, they're heading off the road now. Next road is quite a distance from here. Right, I'm going to just announce this on the radio. Stations, animals have now gone fairly highly mobile in the eastern direction. Very difficult. I'll try and follow. There they go, Brian. Pete, I think you must come Gallagher shortcut. Ooh, let's watch our aerial. Watch out there. Oh man, that line, you can't get through here. Okay, let's go across to Peter, and he's going to come through here, and we'll see you just now. This is not good TV for you.
Well guys, welcome back this side. Obviously this is what we love about the safari, is any minute something happens and then suddenly it's all happening. We've just driven through it. In fact, we're the first guys on this road. Big herd of buffalo that moved through here last night early morning, so this could tie into that lion being around. But obviously the wild dogs, hugely exciting, fantastic to see all 11 youngsters are there. I'm just turning around now because, as James was saying, they went into thick stuff there. Very tricky block this to drive through. We're going to try and wait for them on this side. The general feeling is here, the way they're moving and knowing them, from before, most likely they should be heading through towards quarantine. And as Liam was also saying just now, very likely they could be heading through all the way to where that lion is. So there might even be a little bit of interaction later on. Can't guarantee any of that, but that's sort of relative to their typical movements and behavior. Tricky thing here is going to be trying to find them as they leave this block, because to stay with them they move too fast when you go through thick bush. So yeah, big herd of buffalo around, lion around. I've been speaking to some of the other guys further to the east as well, some of the lodges there, and definitely Birmingham male, the one we looked at, and that was an altercation over a female, also what caused that cut under his eye. So 2 of them at the moment still up in Bivelsdijk side towards the airstrip. One presumably the one in Torchwood, this one, and then one further south. So lion drama last night, but for now we are with maybe the most what's the word, not efficient, I mean all animals are efficient, that's why they survive, but the most coordinated, the most socially interactive hunters of all. That would be the wild dogs. So let's see if we can catch up with them. All right, James got them.
Bird. The little one. The little one trying to chase a francolin. People, we are dashing through the bush here, trying to follow them. They're not on the hunt as it, well, not at full speed. They are tearing down through there. Very, very, very thick in here. They are moving through there. I think we can probably keep up with them. Very thick in here. They go on the hunt. If they actually start chasing something, then we'll lose them going to this stuff. Alright, we're going to head across, everybody. We're going to have to shut down the show. We'll try and keep up with them for our rehearsal. We'll see you later on. Sorry about the disruptions, as I've said, but we are... They've caught something. They've caught something. Man. Okay. Now, either that or they found hyenas. I don't know. I can't get through here. People, I'm afraid we're not going to get through here, I don't think. At 4 o'clock. Thank you for your patience, and we'll see you later.